Hello, everyone. And a good question today is what is a BISO? Is BISO necessary? I'm sure you're all wondering the same thing I'm wondering. But thanks to all our guests and the guests that actually asked that question, that's the topic we chose today. But before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe. Welcome back to Just Unsecure. I'm your co host, Babs, and right there. We're two information security enthusiasts and evangelists. And today's topic, like I said, is BISO versus CISO. Now, that's a good topic for today. Oh, why should there be a BISO versus CISO? Is it really necessary? Is it a versus game? Should I say put it like that? Are they competing?
Uh, Babs, that's a difficult question to answer. And you know my position around that, right? So, one of the key things that we have in the industry right now is everybody trying to say what we're having to more like two leadership position in cybersecurity.
Hmm.
BISO, and then when we're even trying to grapple with what a CIO is, what a CTO is, now CISO. Now we're not talking about BISO. Is that necessary? And I think it's coming out of business strategy. I think there's a business request for someone who can actually more like separate IT from business, because CISO is seen more to be part of IT than part of business. Maybe
Hmm.
that is one of the key drivers that
I I absolutely agree with you. Even there was a current PwC survey with general CISOs that says that they are more likely to consider cybersecurity in the business decisions, which was an increase from 25% last year. So, what
Mm,
it's for me, I think what they're trying to say is that even the CISOs recognize that there's a need for a BISO. And even before we shoot on and talk much more, some people are like, okay, but we've not even defined what a BISO is. A BISO,
absolutely.
a
Absolutely.
BISO is just a business information security officer. And for those that are within the security field that don't know what a CISO is, it's Chief Information Security Officer. And like you said already, both of them are leadership roles. So, and you say, yeah, it might be a business strategic decision to go there. I also find that there's a need for BISOs from my experience, because the BISOs themselves are tied closer to business than
Hmm.
the CISOs.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah. Back on me, oh God. So yeah, because the CISOs are, like you said, strategic. They work at the upper layer, should I put it like that? And business is moving. Business is turning around product, bringing around decisions, doing things without necessarily having a security, should I say, awareness to things.
Hmm.
They more or less want to get to the market quickly and more or less tend to forget about the cost. And if they have to wait for a CISO and things don't go according to plan, obviously, who are they going to blame? Well, it's on the CISO's table. And
Absolutely. And one of the things to collaborate your point, one of the things that I've also seen is the way in which the business want to engage the CISO. The CISO can probably not attend to every business.
mm,
Most likely
yeah,
cannot be in every business meeting, at every departmental segment. And right now, business owners are different in different organizations, especially when it comes to products. Now
mm,
we have positions now like product owners, product managers,
yeah,
which are already in the business. So the best way for security to be able to match the business kind of requirement is to put in a BISO. So if we are
I
talking
totally
about a
agree.
BISO, as Bab has probably alluded a little bit to, said the BISO role is more like a senior cybersecurity leadership position, but they are intended to bridge between security and business interests. With the
Mm.
CISO typically acting as a CISO deputy in every department. So, invariably, in a larger organization, you can actually have many BISOs,
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
CISO.
like you've rightfully said, like the Bizo are the long arm of the CISO. Look at it like an octopus. Yeah, the head is the CISO, and all the tentacles are the BISO. The BISO should be driving the strategic vision of the CISO. So the CISO determines the enterprise or the organization's strategic outlook to security, and the
Yeah.
BISOs are there to ensure that it is executed on the ground floor because they are tied to the business and they more or less take responsibility of whatever business decisions they make. And it's all about if the business is not taking your word for it or not abiding or aligning to your wishes or to the rules of the organization from a security perspective, that is when you get to escalate it to the CISO so that the CISO steps in and says, well, he's right. Well, he's wrong. So hopefully it should always be is right. So again, that is the point of having a BISO. But some people say, okay, well, what skills
Exactly.
does a CISO or a BISO really need? Does it need the same skills as a CISO, or does it need more advanced skills? From my own, I would say soft skills. We will put it like soft skills. I would say it should be able to communicate and collaborate
Hmm.
with people in the business.
That
That's
is
my own take because, yeah,
that is the primary role. Because since we have defined it that way, say yes, it must be a part of the business. But don't forget, this is also like an assistant to a CISO. So you must have the right skills if you want to. So if you are aspiring to that, maybe you've been a representative. Remember, Babs, when you and I used to work, and we're
yeah,
doing like a certification of like an ISO or PCI DSS, we have
absolutely.
spoke from each department, from each sector of the business. So those are acting invariably as a BISO, only that they don't have the skill necessary uh, and the
Mm,
qualification. But now, if you really want to be a BISO, some of the things that you might be you will be responsible for is risk management.
absolutely.
Be-
Absolutely.
because you have to have that, be able to have risk identification, risk acceptance, solution development, because you're actually targeting some of the products that are in those different departments. That is one thing I think might be important. Oh, you've mentioned collaboration, which is
Yeah.
another thing. Then what else do you think they should be able to do?
I would say injecting security into the development plan, because when you look at most organizations, especially IT orientated organization, is more of DevOps
Hmm,
engineering
hmm,
organizations. They just want to churn out and put out things out there. And if you're able, from a BISO perspective, and that's why I say the collaboration and the education is very key, because you should be able to convince developers that they need to put the sec in DevOps. So it should be Dev SecOps. And you can only do that if you communicate and you collaborate effectively with people at that level.
You mentioned something really important, which is education. That means a BISO, whatever department that they're handling or the arm of the business they're handling, they need to be able to educate them properly. I think that is really key because what a CISO have not been able to do is to get people on board on the side of the business.
Yeah, yeah. And any other one from your perspective?
from my head, that is it. I think risk management, collaboration, education. I think those three key area of responsibility is key. But you've mentioned a little bit of soft skills as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
those can be very hard skill when it comes to security as well. But what about some of other things that you think they need to have in their bags? What you would call a trick in the bag of a BISO.
Well, I would say understanding of threat intelligence and
Hmm.
management. So leveraging on the threat intelligence of the tools you have in place, like to be able to describe to the business the risk, like you said, they're taking with actual threat intelligence. It makes more sense to the business if you are able to show or give them awareness of functional and operational threats
Hmm.
to the business. It gives them that a better awareness, should I say, of okay, if I go with this, this is the likelihood of what might happen, rather than just talking about it to the business owner. Once you can show evidence of what is out there and what the business is trying to open the floodgates for them to come in, it makes it a bit easier to sell your security from a BISO's perspective.
And they'll be able to trust you because they see you as part of the business rather
Yeah,
than IT. That means you must extend your relationship outside of your organization, because threat
absolutely,
intelligence is not
absolutely.
what is in your organization, actually outside. Remember, we also discussed being able to go into the dark web, being able to know what is
Yeah,
happening, being able to
yep.
identify what you need to focus on security. I think that is really spot on. I like that. But again, you've mentioned that injecting security into DevOps, I know developers are the big thing to deal with. Now security have to be agile.
Yeah,
So the BISO cannot wait until the end to do pen test
yes,
or to do
that's
security
the start.
assessment, and that is why you're part of the business. Right from the conception, you must be able to broker a lot of relationship so that you can actually build security into it.
Yeah.
But in your role, I'm saying in your role consciously, how have you been able to get to the leadership?
It's communication. And for me, I think everything has to do with communication. You have to be able to communicate your security standpoints. You have to be firm. You have to be flexible, but not breakable.
Hmm,
Um, Always
hmm,
hold your principles and your values from a security perspective and let people know that you are here to help and not hinder the business. Look for solutions for the business, not pointing out problems without solutions.
hmm,
If you point out a problem and you don't have a solution, you more or less be seen as a blocker. So you always have to ensure this is the problem, this is the solution. If you have any other solution, welcome, but the problem needs to be mitigated one way or the other, or worst case scenario, accepted. Again, you do your value and your risk. The always ensuring you're on top of your risk is one of the critical things you can do as a BISO, because you always highlight the issue to leadership, should I say, that this is the risk we're taking. If you're fine with it, sign off. If you're not fine with it, mitigate. So accept, transfer, whatever you want to do, but you have to do something. You cannot leave a risk open endlessly. There must be a time when you stick to your guns and say, look, you see that you sign off on the risk or
hmm,
you do something to mitigate this risk. So I know it's difficult sometimes when you stand in front of business leaders and they want you to say okay, everything is okay, but sometimes you just need to hold your ground, knowing that it's for the good of the business. They might not say it now because they're not the security people, and if they were, then you wouldn't be in the position. So remember that you're in that position to guide, to educate, to make aware of security issues that they are taking on. So,
That is, well, that is great. And guess what? As a BISO, you can only do that if the business sees you on their side and on the side of IT. Don't forget, you have to
absolute.
be careful as a BISO. If they see you as core part of IT or belonging completely to technology, you say, yeah, as a BISO, I can tell you, you can close with a firewall. Firewall is not your biggest problem. It's actually understanding the business process of the department or the arm of business that you're supporting to be able to. In fact, they must see you as fighting for them with IT.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Giving them priority. That is where you can actually bolster trust. And that answered the question. Maybe is BISO role necessary?
For I'll ask you, is BISO necessary?
For me, I'll tell you, like CISOs will argue with you, like, yeah, they're already doing what a BISO is doing. But you and I understand that CISOs cannot tear themselves into several pieces. You are individual. If you're just managing a very small organization
That's
with
what I
one or
was
two
going to say.
departments,
It depends
then
on the organization size,
yeah,
actually.
then you're fine. But
Yeah,
when it becomes a larger organization and you have many competing business requirements, definitely you have to spread your tentacle. Even if that role
absolutely.
doesn't exist as so-called BISO, you still need Spock in those departments. You need Spock in those sub environment where can actually more you've educated enough, they can represent you as a CISO. So a BISO is your deputy, is your right hand man. So I believe it's necessary.
Yeah,
Will
yeah,
it will it become a career that is much more popular going forward? I said absolutely yes.
yeah.
So if you want to go into such an area to focus on that, remember some of the soft skills that apart from your security. So maybe you're an analyst right now, or you're a security manager right now, you're trying to aspire to be a BISO. You need to pick up a lot of those soft skills. You need to be part of the
Absolutely.
business. Everything Babs have talked about, that is what you should be bringing on board. And I'll still ask you again, Babs, what is your advice for BISOs?
Stay headstrong, not be flexible, but not breakable. But you also have to ensure you know the business you're in.
Hmm.
You can't you're a BISO, and it's called BISO for a reason. Business Information Security Officer. So you have to know the business you're in. You have to understand the risk the business is taking, because the business won't have you if they understood the risk. So you and business must be aligned. You must understand the technical, the non-technical of the business for you to be able to work closely and collaborate with the business. And again, it's lots of reading, not just the business. You have to read externally as well, ensuring you're up to date with security news, events going on, learning new technology that would assist the business. For example, looking out for your organization and reading up on things that your organization or the business might actually require. Maybe not now immediately, but later on in the future. You keep abreast with things that happen out there and show that you're looking out for your organization to the business. And trust me, it's a winner any day, anytime.
Absolutely. So, and final word from me, a BISO can also be a CISO. So don't forget. So you have
Absolutely.
to be part of the CISO strategy as well. Don't try to run on your own because everything in an organization comes to fuse together at the top where you actually belongs to. So while you're running your show in those areas, you need to be part of the business as well. The whole entire
Absolutely.
business. Don't cut yourself off. Thank you. We're happy that you joined today. Subscribe for more details, support. Click on like, click on subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Bye.